So excited to have this conversation, especially in Cannes. And here we are talking about AI and creativity, but I actually want to talk about innovation and teams in the era of AI, because, we are seeing innovation outpace teams. And especially when you think about the skills that we had then, the skills that we need now, the skills that we'll need tomorrow. Like, how the heck do we keep up with all of that? So I am talking to two remarkable leaders that have been there, done that, and are in the midst of it today. And I always think the best advice comes from, those leaders with lived experience. We don't have lived experience of the future. So we're kind of making it up as we go along. But let's unpack it and let's unplug it and let's get to a place where we can just have this open, transparent conversation of, what this is all about. So if you can tell me who you are, what you do, and then maybe share transformational innovation that gives you that pause or that, wow, something that really stopped you in your tracks and said, what am I going to do with this now?
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you for having us. Really excited to be here and to be part of the FQ community. So I'm Kelly MacLean. I am at Amazon Ads. I lead our all of the engineering, science, and product teams for Amazon DSP, demand side platform, and then kind of some of our shared console and Amazon Ads agent, which agents are the thing to talk about today. I think one of the most transformational moments is just the power of AI. And, just not only building with it, but just seeing the transformation. I know we're going to talk about a lot of that today of what it can do, how it can make everyone a builder. And it's a whole nother level of leveraging tech and signals in a way that we've never seen before. And so it's been really cool to be on that journey with marketers.
I love that. And I love the word signals too. I've heard it a couple of times lately, and it's just the perfect word, signals. So we're going to come back to that.
I'm Melissa Burdick. I'm the president and co-founder of PackView. I'll tell you a little bit about what PackView is. Before PackView, I also worked at Amazon. I was the original health and beauty buyer back in 2005.
What were your best products buying at the time?
Gray market fragrance. We didn't have direct relationships, so we bought perfumes. Sarah Jessica Parker, I remember that. That was 2005. So I spent 10 years at Amazon. I was early in the retail business and ads. And then I built my own company in 2018 when Amazon created an API. And we were acquired in 2021 by private equity. And so I'm still there, and I still really am operational in the business. I love it. I love this industry. We basically operate on top of Amazon and 100 other retailers. We integrate 1,300 APIs across the whole ecosystem. So as retailers are building vertically, we're building horizontally to sit on top of all the retailers. We have social, Pinterest, Reddit, you name it. We also have an integration with OpenAI. So basically for a CMO, they can come in and they can see everything in one place, all of their budgets, they can optimize and activate it right in our platform. So that's what PackView is. And transformational, Claude. Claude has been my transformation. It has been a game changer for my life. I wake up in the morning, I drink my coffee, I make coffee, I sit at my computer, I'm still in my PJs. I kick off a project with Claude. I ask it to create me a strategy. I go take a shower, I come back, and then I talk to Claude about the strategy. And that would have taken me weeks with my team. Then I have something really concrete to share with them. It is a game changer. And that is my biggest advice to anybody, is to start working with your agent.
Back to being at Amazon then, and now with PackView today, like, what did you experience then that now you say, oh my God, if I were at Amazon then now, what would you be adding into what you were doing then?
Honestly, it was a little bit easier. It wasn't as complex. We have so much fragmentation. We have so many silos. We have so many new things. Just in the last maybe 2 weeks, we've had maybe 12 plus integrations or announcements of things that Amazon's integrating in. The speed at which things were happening wasn't as fast. So in some ways, it's a little bit easier to do things. But today, it's much harder because it's the complexity of I don't know how many things that you've launched this week or 2 weeks ago. The sheer amount of information and knowledge and things that you have to do is intense. And so that's where, having new software platforms, that really has given an opportunity for the platform play and the technical stacks that can sit on top of all the complexity and make it simpler. So that's what we're trying to solve.
And so how are you finding it in terms of using the technology today in the business that you're doing? Like, how are you integrating it for yourself?
Yeah, I think, adding to Melissa's point, several years ago, we didn't have Prime Video, right? We weren't integrated with all of the publishers across the open internet. And so now you have this massive full funnel system. You have these trillions of signals. You have the ability to know who you're reaching in an authenticated way across the entire internet. You can reach 90% of households. But it's all underpinned now by AI. And so I think one of the biggest transformations is, again, for us, trying to make sure that our system is open and that great partners like PackView and others can find an easy way to access the power of our data signals, the power of our tech, and use it as a way to augment what they've built, right? Or for them to pull on the different skills that we've created so that they can continue to add value for their customers. So for us, it's really about continuing to create that open ecosystem so that our partners can be successful and we can meet marketers kind of wherever they are based off of how they want to work with us directly, how they want to work with partners, whether they want to build themselves. There's a variety of ways that we're trying to support.
So, AI is not a new thing, but using even the terminology, but we never used AI agents, but like that terminology, that's kind of new. But AI is not. So what was the moment that we all of a sudden said, oh, AI is knocking on our door and we're going to finally let them in? Like, because it's been there.
You're exactly right. At Amazon, we've had AI for decades, right? It's been integrated into the store. We've been leveraging AI and LLM models in our Amazon DSP for years. And I think that the change is just the speed and the reasoning. So it's kind of that multi-step thinking that was much different before. In addition to that point I was making at the very beginning, everyone's a builder now, right? You don't have to be technical anymore to build, right? And that's one of the most amazing and powerful parts of the tech, in my view, is our clean room solution used to be data scientists only, right? So if you're a brand or you're a partner, you need an engineering technical degree to be able to access the insights. And now the CMO can go in, whether they're technical or not, and pull out what they need. And so I think it's kind of that democratization of data and access, which is really powerful.
I'm thinking about Web3 during COVID. That's all we talked about. Web3, every iteration of Web3 and the glasses and that, all that kind of, where's Web3 today, right? And now we're all AI. And we see where AI is and where it could go if it doesn't become a Web3.
And that's one of the cool things is I think the way that we're thinking of building is, again, meeting marketers and our partners where they are, right? There's a variety of levels of sophistication and integration, and that's where we're trying to build in ways whether, they want to dive in and start using a chat-based experience to build, great. They want to build through our partners who have built their own UI layers and they have their own recommendations, wonderful, right? We're trying to kind of build that bridge on simplified workflows so that we can kind of bring everyone along, no matter the degree of kind of technical aptitude.
But I think the big unlock has been the launch of Claude, OpenAI, and these kind of models that help us do the things that are taking away. I don't have to be technical anymore. I can go build a website. I can just in one click almost. So those things are they're actually very, very useful applications that people can go do, right? And that's the big change. That's the big unlock. And then it's so useful that you can have, for example, within our platform, you have an agent sitting on top of all of your marketing spend and your budgets, Trade Desk, on Amazon, on Walmart, and it can say, hey, just like you're using ChatGPT today to ask it questions, you ask your agent and it tells you things like, oh, there's a problem in this campaign. Do you want me to go fix it? So it's so useful. It is like a life-changing moment. We are literally sitting, this is like a tipping point in our industry.
So I want to go to the agent because how the innovation is accelerating at such rapid speed. How do we adjust our teams accordingly? Because we know the greatest leaders, the most successful leaders today are those that understand the power of team and how to use team, and also how to upskill, reskill, and maybe the agent will replace certain jobs, but it unlocks opportunities for different jobs or different skills, new jobs with different skills. How are you dealing with that?
The great unlock is that anything you were doing manually is now automated. That's great because now you can free up your time to be more strategic. The negative of that is now you have to a totally different job and a totally different skill set. I have a really great example that isn't specific to this industry, but if you remember like price scraping, it used to be a person's job. They would wake up, if they work for Bic Pens, they would literally spend all Monday looking for the price of a pen on Amazon, on Walmart, in store. That was his job of someone searching that. That is automated in a second. Now, what does that person spend 8 hours doing? That's the question. And so that's where we're at in the industry now, is that we have, campaign creation that used to take a person literally creating a campaign. That's automated in a click. Okay, what are you going to spend your time that took you 10, 15 minutes per campaign to create? Now what are you going to do? It's a little bit of a different, more strategic thinking. What I worry a little bit about having kids, mine are 17 and 15, is what are they going to do when they go to graduate from college? Because those were the jobs that they were doing, right? They're learning. They're doing these like initial kind of grunt work things. My first job out of college, I was an analyst at Accenture. And so those jobs are probably gone by the agents. So it's really upskilling and thinking about that. And to answer your question, what can we do? Learn Claude. I have my son, he's 15. He's creating his own agent. So how are we thinking about this for those jobs? What are we going to do to use the technology to assist us and be strategic?
I'm seeing this picture in my head that, first of all, for these young kids in college, I think people say AI won't take your jobs, but someone who knows how to use it will. When I think about your price checker, I get that an AI agent can do that and is doing that and will continue to do it in all new ways. But the person that did the price checking will know how to manage the AI agent. Yes. That lived experience is how that person needs to elevate to the next level. It's just the iteration of efficiency and optimization and acceleration and amplification. But people with that lived experience of understanding what they're doing needs to hopefully still manage the AI agent and do the checking. Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
I 100% agree with what Melissa was saying. I think at Amazon, we talk about our leadership principles a lot. And, there's a couple. One is learn and be curious, right? And another is invent and simplify. And so I think just learning and trying and getting started is so important. I mean, for me, my first job out of college was playing pro soccer. So I was
just saying.
No, and so I wasn't, but I say that because I didn't get an engineering degree because I thought I would be a pro soccer player because I was playing on the national team and then that was going to be the career until I got injured. And so I ended up, though, in the business world very quickly realizing that I wasn't getting the data that I needed to be a successful product manager. And so I had to teach myself how to code. And so I think that was an early example of, I need to learn, I need to adapt. And so I earned my engineering degree over time by learning how to code, teaching myself, working with engineers. And I think having that mindset of scrappiness and testing and iterating and being okay to fail is just, and as leaders, we need to create that space and tell our teams and support our teams to do that. But I think that's the key for anyone who's young is just learn and test and iterate and just try it, just start somewhere.
But I also keep seeing then now, this, like you see in my head, 5 years ago, your marketing leaders 5 years ago operated in a certain capacity. Today, they need to operate completely differently. How do you to say, then we did it this way, now we need to do it this way. And these are the skills we need to learn to be relevant today.
I think two ways. Again, one is making it easy for our partners or marketing teams, right, to adapt to the new tech, as I was talking about, right? We have a few ways where you can come into our user interface and we have kind of very simplified pills or actions that you can take, right? So instead of clicking through and understanding all of this, it's kind of a bridge to the future. We have chat-based experiences now with our ads agent, right? We have simplified workflows. So there's ways that we're trying to make it easy. There's MCP integrations that we're doing with, Melissa and her team. With marketers, it's just starting somewhere, right? It's you don't, I think just get the data integrated. And I know that can take years, right? But start with a region, start with a product, start with a campaign, start testing, right? Trying some of these new tools, because by doing that, you're going to help shape the future of what we're all building. And you get to start training the models, right? You have this agent that is effectively your brand agent that's starting to learn for you. So that's the biggest piece that I say is just start, right? It doesn't need to be a multi-year transformation. Just get going.
I think this has to start top down in companies. It has to start with the CEO saying, we are going to be agent first. We are going to be a company that adopts this technology. Because if you don't have that, people, they don't get access to Claude. They can't use ChatGPT. They have policies. And so look at Shark Ninja. That's one of our clients that are just like so they're thinking AI first in everything that they're doing, and it's top down to their whole company. They have hackathon days. I think there's a famous thing that I don't know if you know Jason Goldberg, but he's a great thought leader, and he talks about a meeting with Doug MacLean at Walmart. He walks in. Doug MacLean asks his senior leadership team, "How did you use ChatGPT to prepare for this meeting today? Have you heard the story?" Yeah. And everyone in the team goes, "Hey, Doug, it's illegal to use ChatGPT at Walmart." And so what did he do? He gave everyone at Walmart access to ChatGPT, and it rolled it out from the top down. And now they can be more efficient using assistants. So unless it starts top down, it's not going to happen.
Totally agree. It has to be intentional, very intentional. But I want to go to that because top down, bottom up, all around also requires a culture mindset of openness. You can look at it as scary, or you can look at it as opportunity. You can look at it as failure, or you can look at it as taking risk. You can look at it as living in the past, or you better create the future. Like there's mindset shift. How do we create this culture of innovation, this culture of experimentation, this culture of what if scenarios?
It's hard and it's a big shift, but I do think it's, talking about top down, I think leaders living this and showing it and making space for it. So one of the things we've done at Amazon is I have weekly meetings where every team is showing kind of new innovations that they've pulled together across all roles, right? Including the roles who maybe weren't necessarily actually coding at the beginning. We're sharing all of this, at these kind of monthly cross, company-wide events and so forth. And so I think it's creating the ability to showcase what we're building, celebrating it. I think talking about too, one of the things I do with my teams is I will openly talk about products that have failed and support the teams who have failed. I want people to take chances. Not every product we're building is going to be a home run, and that's okay and that's good, right? It's good for us to learn and figure out what we can do better. So I just think embracing failure, giving your team the space to test and learn, and encouraging everyone. Again, we're trying to kind of find ways. You talked about how roles are changing, and that's another big piece is we're evolving how our product managers and designers and engineers and data scientists are all working together. And I know that's happening at every company.
It starts with your managers. If your manager's starting to adopt things and pushing their team, okay, how did you use this to make this? When I got Claude first in our team, and I kept sending these one-pagers, beautiful. It's a game changer because I'm not operationally and organized is maybe not my strength. I'm an ideas person, and which is great because then Claude can make my ideas come to life in a beautiful way. And so I would send these like beautiful one-pagers that were just, it looked like someone had spent a week on this Word document to my team. And I was like, oh, here's an idea for you. And they're like, and then they started using Claude and they agreed it was a game changer. But it starts with you have to adopt it as the manager of the team or your leadership. And it has to be something that you ingrain in people to say, this is so amazing. Adopt this. It'll help you. And so when I ask my team, they all are like, they love it.
All right. So, I think that AI is a tool that feeds the engine. What does good look like to you?
For what we've seen is for marketers who are embracing this is they are the ones that are adopting the new tech, right? They're the ones that are trying our off-the-shelf AI products like Performance Plus and getting a 51% reduction in CPA, right? They're the ones that are trying to integrate with their data sources and making sure that you have this full 360-degree view of what's going on. And so
stats are very...
It's wild.
unbelievable.
It's wild.
Show me that, and I'm like, give me more.
Yes, well, it's the capability of the models that are learning, right? And they're able to. I think that's one of the cool things at Amazon is we're able to decide if there's a marketer who's marketing pet food. Now we have this cool ability with all of these amazing LLMs that are learning on, okay, maybe there's people who love your pet food brand who are also hikers, and you actually should be reaching this cohort of users who you would have never made that connection to in the past. And so it's so powerful.
Pause on that, because that is amazing, because you originally started talking about, understanding your audiences better and all of that. And that is exactly ding, 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 because, we're moving beyond just demographic profiling to psychographic, behavior graphic of lifestyle, life stage. And, especially in the world we live in with multimedia on steroids, letting our customer, consumer, person pull, not just pushing linear.
You're spot on. Spot on. Yeah.
I mean, wow.
And then it's the ability to reach them wherever they're spending their time as they're in that shopping funnel, right? So we know that someone might have been on Netflix and then they're shopping in the store and then now they're on Disney. And we have the ability to reach that person no matter where they are. And for marketers, that's an amazing dream, right? We have this ability for live events broadcasts where historically you just had to kind of target the show and hope that you reach someone. But now you can actually get to that moment where everyone's engaging on this burst capacity moment in a World Cup game.
Burst capacity.
Right. But then you reach them when they're on a fishing channel, which is much more efficient. So it opens up the game and the aperture of where you can reach people and how effective you can be as a marketer.
Did you see me in my brain thinking about the word fish? Because as you were talking, you talked about the funnel. I was thinking, I don't even think it's a funnel anymore. I think it's a fishbowl. And then like that. Like, I think that's the world we're living in today. And so I want to go to that world, because what is the agency, the tech company, what sets up success? And so from your point of view, Melissa, at PackView, working with an Amazon, what do you want from your partner to be able to give them the best service possible in today's rapidly moving world?
Well, first of all, Amazon is the gold standard of all partners. They give us the most amount of data. They give us all the signals and all that information, promotions, inventory levels, helps the platforms, PackView, really help with the optimization and activation of campaigns and being able to target the most effectively. So the access to the data, the other one is being API first, which Amazon has a big philosophy around. And so that means that when things get pushed into the API, there's parity with what's in the user interface, and then clients can adopt those things through our technology. Those are really the critical pieces of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just really also intrigued and inspired by how partners like PackView are also building and using data in really interesting ways, and partnering with us and with our shared customers on scaling that and kind of creating new innovation. So it's been really fun.
But and kind of going back to your point about the broken funnel, it's a collapsed funnel. And so what's happened is, instead of people are starting their customer journey on TikTok, they're discovering something on TikTok and buying on Amazon. And that's something that we can measure with the halo effect of that. People are going to ChatGPT to ask questions and then buying on Amazon. And so this journey of like, oh, I found it on TikTok, bought on Amazon, maybe a couple weeks later, that's a different behavior than we used to have. But we can track and see all of that. And instead of buying audiences, we're buying outcomes.
Okay, I want to go to just quality of leaders and what you think the best qualities of leadership or the necessary qualities of leaders were yesterday, and what you think they are today, and what your prediction is for tomorrow.
The leader of yesterday was a lot of understanding the whole ecosystem, and but it was really kind of honing in, I think, on certain parts of the funnel and really refining those pieces that you were great at. I think the leaders of tomorrow, again, are the ones who are adapting across the funnel. We talk about outcomes-based all the time, and how we're building and just simplifying everything. And I think AI is the great simplifier. I really do. We talk about in my team radical simplification, and both in kind of how we're building, how we're sharing the power of the insight. So I think the marketers of tomorrow will be, and I think just to clarify on the marketers of yesterday, they've wanted to adapt across all stages of the funnel, but it's been so hard and fragmented. Like, we and others have not made that easy. And so that's where I think the entire funnel is now here. The power of the data is going to help marketers really be able to hone in on their craft and what makes them incredible. And I think that's where, again, surfacing all of these insights in a way that it's actionable and they can really amplify it within partners like PackView, directly with Amazon, using both systems. It's just a game changer, because it really takes all of these incredible strategic minds and helps them with really, building their brand, executing against that without the guesswork.
I think leaders have to have the courage to act faster now. I think they have to have, the most important thing a leader can have is vision and understanding where the puck is going. And to your point about fragmentation, they have to reorganize their teams. There's a programmatic team here, a social team there. They're disconnected. The budgets are disconnected. We're in a collapsed world where things are blending together. And so unless you have the team structure and you're going to go create that team structure, you're going to make your P&L work with that team structure. That's what leaders need to do today. And that's hard. It's hard to go do all this change management. The bigger your organization, the worse it is to be able to do those things. And so that's what has to happen.
I think you are both examples of leaders that are on the cusp of transformation, evolution, speed, scale, growth, because you are open and willing and able to go there. And so, when we talk about the power of partnership, I am so thrilled to experience this beautiful partnership of how 1 + 1 makes 11. And that is what is so necessary today. So thank you for being inspirational leaders that we all look up to, and lead the way. Let's go. That's what it's going to take.